What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American, here today to react and learn about the Isles of Scilly. I did not know this, but apparently there are some islands off the southwestern tip of England here. If I zoom in and scroll down to the southwestern tip of England, sure enough, there's something called the Isles of Scilly. When did this happen? When did these get here? You know, who put these here? What? This is news to me. I have never heard of the Isles of Scilly until today. This is not something that I think many Americans even know exist. And from what I understand, this is actually a part of England and therefore a part of the UK, right? That would make sense to me. If I hop over to the Wikipedia here, I mean, the Isles of Scilly even has its own flag, apparently. It's an archipelago, which is like a collection of islands off the southwestern tip of Cornwall, England, United Kingdom. And if I scroll down a bit to the national government part, politically, these islands are part of England, one of the four countries of the United Kingdom. They're represented by the UK Parliament. As part of the United Kingdom, they were part of the European Union. Okay, so they seem to have a national government of the UK, but maybe a local government that's more like delegated by people actually on the islands. And what I want to take a look at here is a fascinating little video I want to watch about someone who has traveled to the Isles of Scilly and made a top 10 greatest attractions, coolest stuff on these islands list that I want to see, because apparently this is also a popular tourist destination. Or maybe people from the UK, do you vacation to the Isles of Scilly? Or is this like, how popular are these? I don't know anything about this, which is kind of cool. So I just want to take a look at what's going on the Isles of Scilly. So let's take a look.
Number 10, Hewtown.
Hewtown.
With its gorgeous picturesque streets, its chocolate box cottages, its town beaches, galleries, cafes, pubs, shops, and of course the key that then gives you access to all of the other islands.
Wow, fascinating. This is like making me wonder how like British are these islands? Like, if that makes sense. I don't know anything about the history of these islands, but who lives here? Just from the few things I'm seeing, it looks like historical, European, like parts of Britain, but also has this lake town, lake city kind of vibe going on, which I really like. And it's beautiful, obviously.
Hewtown is often been a hive of activity, whether it's been during the day or in the evenings.
Okay.
It's a must just to have a bit of a nosy around. Number 9, the locals and their culture.
Oh, excellent. I'm really interested in like what is the local culture of these islands? These are part of the British Isles. What's the culture like on the Isles of Scilly compared to like the mainland, I guess, if there even is a big difference?
On Wednesdays, there's gig racing for women, and on Fridays, the gig racing is for men.
Oh.
The Boatmen's Association run boat trips out on the water to watch each of these races, and
So, not shockingly, on an island, boating and boat racing? She called it gig racing. I've never really heard of that. Boating is very popular. That makes sense.
Something that's very unique to this part of the world. In addition to that, there's a very honest feel to the whole area. It's absolutely fine to leave things just lying around. No one's going to steal anything. For example, when we rented bikes, we weren't given any locks as we were assured no one will steal them.
What?
There's also honesty boxes just dotted around the island so that you can pick things up. And again, there's just that.
No. Oh my God. This is amazing. Oh my God. What cool trees and stuff. I don't even know what kind of tree that is there. What the heck? What she is saying is so funny to me, because it couldn't be more different to, like, life in the United States. There's no, like, to be perfectly honest, like, you have to put a lock on your bike. there's no honesty stalls and vendors where you can buy, what were they selling here? Island grown apple juice, where you just leave the money in a basket or something and take the juice only that you pay for. Now, that's amazing that there's places where that works and that this island is such a tight-knit group of like trustworthy people and obviously like a tight-knit community, I would imagine, where you can do stuff like this. That's awesome. What an amazing place to live, actually.
That trust that no one's going to steal things, and likewise any of the money pots that are left around, that no one's going to steal money out of those.
Wow. That's awesome. People can just sell stuff and walk away, and everyone is like trustworthy enough to pay without being told to or watched or that. I can't get over that. That's amazing.
Thing is the sheer hospitality of people. Just yesterday, our helicopter flight was cancelled, but it wasn't just ours. There were loads of helicopter flights and loads of plane flights that were cancelled, and one family was looking to be very stranded with it being the end of May half term and the Attillo swim run event for happening at the moment. The island.
There's always some kind of swimming or boating event going on here too, huh?
Is sold out to the brim. This family put out a plea on the Facebook group saying, is there anyone who could house us and our young children for the night? And a local family who lives here on the islands have taken them in.
What? I mean, that's awesome. Like, there's pros and cons to living on an island. You are cut off from a lot of mainland society and stuff, but one of the biggest perks seems to be this sense of community of living in such a small area, like such an isolated area. Everyone probably knows each other or knows a lot of the people who live there and actually do things together, and you recognize people and you help each other out. It's like it's not just a small town feeling. It's like even tighter knit than that. You're on an island together. That's awesome. And people are genuine and nice. Man, this is nice. The island life, man. Wow.
Right, taking the history of these islands, there is so much history to this place. Whether it's the ancient history, such as the burial chambers and cairns, through
burial chambers. See, I'm also real interested in this as well. What is the history of these islands? Have they always been part of the United Kingdom, part of England? Or I don't know how in-depth we're going to get into that, but I'm interested.
To the slightly more modern day history, such as the garrison walls, whether it's looking at the lighthouses, the day mark over on St. Martin's. And for me personally, true highlight was going over to Samson, now an uninhabited island, but people were living there up until the 1850s.
Whoa. Yeah, there's a lot of history going on here. This just makes me even more curious about the history of the Isles of Scilly. Because there's a lot of, like, very old buildings and tombs and walls and stuff. That's fascinating.
We took a tour with Catherine Sawyer, and it's something that I would highly recommend if it's on option, if you were to come and visit too.
Yeah, so again, I have to remember, this is like a bunch of islands. Some are uninhabited, some have the bigger towns by the look of it, and more people live there. Okay.
Number 7, taking in all of the different transport options here on the islands.
Okay.
I took the Skybus to get from Land's End across to St Mary's, and unlike flying with normal airlines such as, say, EasyJet or British Airways, which has kind of become second nature to me, it was so much fun from start to end. Getting to fly on a tiny
Skybus? Skybus! I was like, is it a flying bus? Have I missed out on something? Are buses flying now? This is a brand. This is like an airline, Skybus. It's tiny airplanes. This is the kind of thing you have to take to the Isles of Scilly. That's awesome.
Craft in a twin otter with a dog in the dog box, getting to be able to see the pilots in the cockpit was so much fun. The Boatmen's Association of taking us around. That transportation, unlike when you do a self-drive holiday, was also a very relaxing and lovely sight.
This is awesome. Oh my God. Just the whole experience of being on islands, small islands, like the Isles of Scilly here. This is great. I'm really getting sold on the Isles of Scilly. You take the little airplane, you get to go around on these boats to get around. That's awesome.
Sightseeing way to be able to look on and admire the islands from a different angle.
Right.
On the island of St. Mary's, there's also a bike hire, which is something that we did, and we thoroughly enjoyed that way of being able to get around the island quite quickly.
Right.
But if you're not so interested in having to put in that effort of cycling around the island, there's
Right.
also the opportunity to rent a golf cart.
Here we go. Okay, thank goodness. Here we go. I was like, where is the American option here? Like, I don't know about all these bike riding. You know, we don't get out that much. And exercise. Golf cart type thing. Perfect.
Number 6, walking.
Oh, walking.
Each of the islands offer gorgeous coastal paths that really don't take much effort to wander around.
Wow, hold up. I gotta go back to look at this image. This is just insane. This is just beautiful. I had no idea this existed.
Yet the coastal scenery, the chocolate box villages and hamlets, the honesty boxes, flora, fauna and wildlife that you'll get to see is worth it so much more than the tiny bit of effort.
Look at it. Even the squirrels are different. Even the squirrels have pointy ears. Okay.
That you need to put in. Number 5, the flora and fauna.
Okay.
Whether it's visiting Tresco Abbey's gardens, seeing its tropical plants.
Oh my God. What? This is like Hawaii. This is like the UK's version of Hawaii for us in America. Like this tropical paradise that's just out there. And it's almost like Hawaii is a tourist destination even for Americans. Americans like to visit Hawaii at some point. They're like, wow, this is great. Is that kind of what the Isles of Scilly are to the rest of the UK? Like this cool tropical vacation that you can go to? Because this seems amazing. I didn't know there was a place like this in the UK.
That are able to exist in this lush English countryside, through to just wandering across the islands and seeing the sorts of flowers and plants that are growing naturally in people's gardens.
Wow.
We also decided to take a tour with Will Wagstaff on Briar, who showed us all kinds of flora and fauna.
Yeah. These plants are weird. This place is great.
4, water sports. Whether it's taking a wild swim in the seas, renting a kayak or a stand-up paddleboard, or even getting your own little sailboat or dinghy out for the day, taking to the waters is a really fun way to be able to explore these islands.
Yeah, swimming is cool, but the scenery with like the random islands and rocks in the background, it's just a super cool place just to see.
Islands. Number 3, the island's wildlife.
Oh.
We were fortunate enough on our first day to be able to take a wildlife boat tour out as far as Bishop's Rock, but it also...
And all these lighthouses are awesome too. What kind of wildlife, besides those pointy-eared squirrels, is on this island, these islands?
Took in the Western Rocks and Annet. It allowed us to see a plethora of seabirds, and the seals that were on the rocks were just endless.
Seals? There's seals.
First, we got very excited when we saw the first few, but then it was just one after the next.
Wow.
And they all had their own cheeky personalities. Some just didn't really care, others were fighting.
What the heck? Where did this come from? How have I never heard of this before? This place seems amazing. How famous is this in the UK? I'm sure people living in the UK know about the Isles of Scilly, obviously. It's just mind-blowing to me that, like most Americans, never heard of this, ever. Never heard this said out loud before.
And of course, it's not just the boat trips. When you walk around the islands, you're constantly seeing and hearing the wildlife, the tweeting of the birds.
Birds!
Here on St. Mary's, we did a nature walk and came across some bird hides, so we're able to go and sit into those, looking out onto lakes that were otherwise very secluded from humans. When we did our walk with Will Wagstaff over on Briar, he was also able to point out further wildlife that we otherwise would have missed or just wouldn't have known as much about.
What an amazing place to vacation. This is really a unique place. This would be a great place for a vacation. Food!
Number 2, the food.
Food!
The food on these islands is phenomenal. Everything seems to be locally grown and naturally organic.
Right. Oh, this is great. Because it is an island. so it can be difficult to get stuff imported to the island. You might not have Amazon Prime delivery, next day shipping, which, you know, that's tough to live with. I don't know how they do it. But on the flip side, you get like locally grown food, all these local shops, local ice cream.
We thoroughly enjoyed the ice creams that we got from the Troy Town farm on our first day.
Yes.
We enjoyed the food trucks that were here at St. Mary's. They've got both a fish and chips van and also a Thai food truck.
Fish and chips.
On Wednesday morning.
It is. This place is British after all, technically. And they got the fish and chips to prove it.
St. Mary's offers a farmers, makers and growers market, and from there we were able to get a Scilly tatty cake. We were able to get the Veronica's fudge and also some fresh crab meat that we could...
I don't know what a Scilly tatty cake is, but I'd eat it.
We could then use for sandwiches over the coming days.
A crab.
The islands have also got things like bakeries, which we used when we were over on St. Martin's. There's also honesty boxes that are full of food, and we picked up some eggs and jam.
Right, she keeps talking about like an island. Is there like a main island in this archipelago, the Isles of Scilly? Are there like certain islands that like have certain stuff or more of the stuff maybe?
Also when we were on St. Martin's. And of course the sit-down restaurant offering is quite wide, and on our final evening, or at least what we thought was going to be our final evening, we had a really lovely meal at On the Quay.
Oh, what on earth is this? It's a volcano that you eat.
And in at number one, it has to be the beaches. These islands offer some of the most
Look at this. Gorgeous. She's right. She's about to say gorgeous, and I agree.
Gorgeous beaches, whether it's the raw and rugged Samson Flats, through to the really happening and lively Port.
Oh, there's like a cruise ship in the background. Do cruise ships go around these islands? There's a fair number of people out on the beach as well. I wonder what the population of this area is. How many locals there are living on these islands.
Crescent Beach, where I'm sat right now. Some of the notable favourites of ours was the bar that linked between St. Agnes and Gue.
Yeah.
We loved Par Beach over on St. Martin's, as it just kept going for so long and had so few people on it on a gorgeously hot afternoon.
Right, here it's like a gigantic beach and there's not that many people on it. That's amazing. I could easily see if you're like willing to live out on an island. What an amazing life that would be. It just seems so freaking peaceful. And just like the sense of community, and like the sun is shining and there's beaches. What a stress-free, lovely existence you could have actually living on these islands. And or they're also just a great place to vacation to, I think.
And we also whiled away an entire afternoon on Brushy Bay over in Briar. So that was my personal top 10 for the Isles of Scilly. I'd love to know if you agree or disagree. Do you think that there's anything that I've missed out that you think that others should be aware of? Please do let me know in those comments.
That's amazing. That was a great video. That was by When Adventure Knocks, and I gotta give that a like. That was fantastic. So many things. From the architecture, to the docks and the boats, to the seals and wildlife, and the food, and the beaches. What an amazing place, again, to live if you're into that, or certainly to vacation to. I am so glad I took some time to highlight this today, because like I said, the Isles of Scilly, I've never heard of them. Rest assured, I can guarantee you, most Americans have never heard of this. It's off the southwestern tip of England. I think it's so small on the world map, like, I've never even really noticed it, but it is definitely on my radar now. This was fantastic. I enjoyed this so much. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like, or leave a comment with your thoughts on the Isles of Scilly. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the UK and UK culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.